Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving deep into the ultimate daily battle today. We're looking at some source material that breaks down the struggle that pretty much defines absolutely everything else in our lives, architecting your inner fortress and conquering the weaker self. Now, this isn't about competing with the person sitting next to you, not at all. It's an intense, empathetic look at the battle you fight in total silence every single day.
So let me ask you a question. Who is your greatest opponent? Think about it for a second. It's so incredibly easy to point fingers outward, right? To blame the economy, to blame your competitors, or just a lack of time or resources. But the sources we're unpacking today make this undeniable point. The real battle, it's not out there in the world, it is inside. Every single morning when you open your eyes, you face the only opponent that actually matters.
Okay, let's jump straight into Section 1, the enemy within.
We're looking at a pretty hard line drawn between two very different versions of you. On one side, we've got the weaker self. This is that part of you that hits the snooze button 3 times, flinches at the absolute first sign of pain, and is constantly looking for a shortcut. It just wants the familiar path, even if that path keeps you exactly where you were yesterday. And let's be honest, we have all bargained with that voice while wrapped up in a warm blanket, right? But then, on the other side is the stronger self. This version actively chooses transformation. It embraces discomfort and, this is the key, it proves it with action. Every single day presents a literal crossroads between these two identities. So how do we actually fight this? It can sound a little, abstract to just say face yourself. So let's turn this into a literal, actionable morning routine straight from our source texts. Step 1, open your eyes. Step 2, face the mirror. Just look that reflection dead in the eyes. Step 3, make your declaration. Literally tell that weaker self, you won't beat me today. And finally, step 4, back it up with actions. Prove with every choice that you're evolving beyond yesterday's limitations. It sounds simple on paper, but try doing that on a freezing, dark Tuesday morning. It's really about making a daily covenant with yourself before the outside world even gets a chance to weigh in.
Which brings us to Section 2, reaching the breaking point.
Look, we all know that initial morning motivation eventually fades. Reality hits. Maybe you're halfway through a run and your lungs are absolutely burning, or you're staring at a wildly frustrating project at 11 p.m. But what is so fascinating here is how our sources reframe this moment we all dread, the breaking point. It is not defined as a signal to stop. Instead, it's the exact moment of maximum resistance that reveals where your next level actually begins. When pain floods your body, when your brain is just begging you to quit and you're running completely on empty, that exact moment determines everything. That's where true separation happens. Most people retreat when they hit that threshold. They never find out what's on the other side. But if you push through, those boundaries you thought were totally fixed, they suddenly become movable. But here's the catch. That weaker self is cunning. It knows your weaknesses perfectly. It's got your favorite excuses completely memorized, and it weaponizes them to protect you from growth right when you hit that breaking point. It hits you with those familiar lines like, I don't have time, or it just hurts too much. It uses feelings of fatigue, creeping doubts, and manufactures 1,000 rational-sounding reasons to just quit right then and there. It is absolutely vital to recognize these excuses for what they really are, the enemy within, just trying to regain control of the steering wheel. All right, moving on to Section 3, discipline over cheap talk. So how do we counter those deeply ingrained excuses? Well, here is the harsh truth. Everyone talks big about wanting change. Everyone talks about becoming stronger or better or more successful. But talk is cheap. This internal battle absolutely does not care about your excuses. Discipline is simply doing what needs to be done regardless of how you feel. When you're exhausted, when it hurts, when every single excuse seems entirely valid, discipline is literally the only weapon that destroys the weaker self. The real price of change is facing off against that weaker version of you every single day. Let's just pause for a second to let this quote sink in. The true victor isn't the one who never falls. It's the one who refuses to stay down. Nobody is expecting perfection here. You do not have to win every single battle, and you are absolutely going to have dark days where you stumble. What actually matters is your commitment. Tomorrow, you'll be stronger simply because you refuse to surrender today. Every forward step, no matter how tiny, is a victory. Which leads us perfectly into Section 4, doing the invisible work. That resilience we just talked about? It's built quietly, far away from the crowds. We all love to focus on the visible results, don't we? The medals, the ceremonies, the big achievements, the applause. But the text makes it emphatically clear that greatness isn't actually forged in those public victories. Those are just the visible byproducts.
The real transformation happens through the invisible work. It is the private battles, the silence, pushing past your limits when absolutely no one is watching, facing your deepest fears without an audience to cheer you on. While everyone else is resting, you're doing the invisible work that literally separates the extraordinary from the average.
And finally, we arrive at Section 5, Building Your Mental Fortress. All of this invisible work, all of those quiet, unseen victories, they lead us to the ultimate reward of this daily internal struggle. The crucial point to take away from all of this is that you aren't just training your physical body or your endurance. You are training your soul, your will, and your unconquerable spirit. A mental fortress is defined here as pure mental fortitude and an unbreakable character. It's built by repeatedly embracing discomfort and sacrificing the easier path. It is a fire inside you that neither failure nor criticism can put out. It's a power that no one can ever give you, and more importantly, no one can ever take away from you. And how exactly is this fortress constructed? It's built brick by brick. Enduring those dark days, the days when progress seems totally non-existent and the doubts are just screaming in your head. Overcoming self-doubt, advancing without a single drop of applause, consistently choosing your true potential over comfort. Every drop of sweat, every single sacrifice builds another brick in this foundation. The person you become through this struggle becomes literally unrecognizable to people who have never tested their own limits, because you're proving day in and day out that you are cut from an entirely different cloth.
As we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with one final provocative question straight from our sources. Take this into the rest of your day. Next time you feel like you literally can't go another step, ask yourself, what would my strongest self do? You already know the answer deep down. That version of you doesn't quit. It doesn't back down. The journey transforms you, it burns away everything that isn't essential, and it just leaves behind pure strength. Your strongest self is waiting on the other side of today's battle. Go meet them.